The frontier station of Kepler-7 wasn't supposed to see action. It was a refueling depot, a mechanical waypoint where ships stopped to patch holes and recharge fusion cores before diving deeper into the contested reaches. Ronin Hale had chosen this posting specifically for its reputation as the galaxy's most boring assignment. He was elbow deep in a thruster, manifold when the shooting started. The hangar bay erupted with the distinctive whine of plasma rifles. Ronin dropped his tools and ducked behind the cargo hauler he'd been servicing, grease still coating his hands. Through the gaps in the machinery, he saw them. 6 figures in black combat armor, unmarked and efficient. Mercenaries, the expensive kind. They weren't there for the station. They were there for the creature. It was small, no larger than a terrier, with scales that shimmered like oil on water and eyes that burned with an intelligence far beyond any animal Ronin had ever seen. A dragon hatchling, he realized with a jolt. He'd heard rumors that the draconic sovereignty had opened diplomatic channels with the Terran coalition, but seeing one of their young in person was something else entirely. The hatchling was cornered near the fuel pumps, hissing and spitting small gouts of flame that wouldn't scare a determined housecat. The mercenaries advanced with tranquilizer rifles raised. Ronin's brain screamed at him to stay hidden. This wasn't his fight. The dragons were powerful, ancient, and utterly terrifying when provoked. Whatever political game was being played here, a human mechanic had no business interfering. His heart, unfortunately, had never learned to listen to his brain. Ronin grabbed a torque wrench and ran. He cleared the distance in seconds, putting himself between the hatchling and the mercenaries. "Hey!" he shouted, raising the wrench like it was worth a damn against military-grade weapons. "Station's closed for maintenance. Come back never." The lead mercenary's helmet tilted, likely scanning him. "Move aside, human. This doesn't concern you." "Kids on my station," Ronin said, feeling the hatchling press against his legs, tiny claws digging into his work pants. "That makes it my concern." The mercenary didn't bother with further warnings. The plasma bolt caught Ronin in the left shoulder, spinning him around and dropping him to one knee. The pain was extraordinary, like someone had pressed a white-hot brand into his flesh and left it there. He could smell his own burned tissue, but he didn't move aside. The hatchling shrieked, a sound that rattled the hangar's reinforced windows. It tried to position itself in front of Ronin, breathing desperate flames that barely singed the mercenary's armor. Ronin used his good arm to scoop the creature up, tucking it against his chest, despite the searing agony in his shoulder. "It's okay," he muttered, though he wasn't sure if he was reassuring the dragon or himself. "It's okay." The mercenaries advanced. Then the temperature in the hangar dropped 20 degrees in an instant. The air itself seemed to solidify, becoming thick and heavy with a presence that made Ronin's evolutionary hindbrain scream danger in every language humanity had ever spoken. The lights flickered. Metal groaned. And then she was there. Empress Valyra materialized in the center of the hangar as if reality had simply decided she belonged there more than empty space. She stood 12 feet tall in her hybrid form, scales of deep crimson covering her body, wings folded against her back like a cloak of living flame. Her eyes were molten gold, and when she spoke, her voice resonated in frequencies that human ears weren't designed to process. "You dare." It wasn't a question. It was a condemnation. The mercenaries never stood a chance. Valyra moved with impossible speed, each gesture precise and devastating. Armor crumpled. Weapons melted. Within seconds, the 6 highly trained killers were reduced to unconscious heaps on the deck plating. Their equipment scattered as slag. Then those terrible golden eyes fixed on Ronin. He tried to stand, failed and settled for not passing out. The hatchling in his arms chirped and scrambled free, running to its mother on unsteady legs. Valyra caught her child with surprising gentleness, examining the hatchling with focused intensity, before returning her attention to the human bleeding on her hangar floor. Ronin expected vaporization. He got something far more unsettling. The Dragon Empress knelt. "You took a plasma bolt for my daughter," Valyra said, her voice now at frequencies Ronin could actually hear. "You, a human, fragile, mortal. You stepped between Jara and death without hesitation." "Seemed like the right thing to do," Ronin managed through gritted teeth. "She's just a kid." Valyra's expression shifted into something that might have been amazement. "The right thing," she repeated, tasting the words. My species has studied yours for decades, human. We know your history, your wars, your capacity for cruelty. And yet, she reached out with one massive clawed hand, surprisingly gentle as she examined his wound. And yet you possess something we lost millennia ago. You act from instinct, from heart, from a moral compass that defies logic. She stood, and when she spoke next, her voice carried the weight of authority that had commanded star systems for 10,000 years. The draconic sovereignty owes you a debt, Ronin Hale. Your name will be carried in the halls of fire. Your bloodline will be protected across generations. And should you ever require the might of dragons, you need only call. Ronin blinked. His shoulder throbbed. Can I maybe just get that healing pod treatment? Pretty sure I'm going into shock. For the first time in recorded history, a dragon empress laughed. 3 hours later, fully healed and sitting in the station commander's office with a beverage that cost more than his yearly salary, Ronin watched through the viewport as Valyra's flagship prepared to depart. The empress herself had stayed long enough to ensure the mercenaries were taken into draconic custody, and to personally deliver a datapad containing what she called a token of gratitude. The token turned out to be a full pardon for humanity's outstanding violations of 17 interstellar treaties, a mutual defense pact, and mining rights to 3 resource-rich systems. His communicator buzzed. It was his supervisor. Hale, what the hell did you do? The Admiralty is losing their minds. The dragons are offering us a full alliance. There are diplomats screaming about protocol violations. What happened? Ronin looked at the fading silhouette of the draconic flagship, then down at the small scale that Jara had left in his palm, shimmering with inner light. Nothing much, he said. Just fix something that was broken, because that's what mechanics did. They fix things. Even when those things were interstellar diplomatic incidents. Even when it meant taking a bullet, especially then.